Vlaardinger. Is my pronunciation getting better?
Vlaardingen.
Vlaardingen.
You have to like make your...
What have you got there? Oh, you're doing Facebook Live as well?
Uh-huh.
This is Jolanda from JoJoConcerts, whose hospitality I am making the very most of. We're broadcasting this
you and
live.
every musician who
I know,
comes
it's
to
been a
Holland.
swinging door. There's a swinging door of musicians in the 4 or 5 days I've been here, but I couldn't believe it when I realised that you were coming along at the end of it. Because we met, when would it have been?
Two folk alliances ago.
It was two.
Yeah.
So Orit Shimoni, based out of Canada, but as home free as any musician that I've ever met.
10 years.
I just every now and again I go, I wonder where she is, and it could be anywhere, eh?
Pretty much.
Really. So it's really born. Is that
not
right?
born, but
No.
Israeli half raised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Canada's finest, that has to be said. We'll talk a bit about the trail and what brings you here, where you're going next as well. Records and all the usual stuff. Would you introduce us to a song?
I do.
As well. Your poor guitar, darling. What happened?
Just like my heart.
Fragile but beautiful.
Thanks. I'm gonna write that down. I gotta tell the story behind this song quickly. That and Jolanda's the queen of this. She's the queen of giving hand-me-downs to people, and people want to give me things all the time because I live out of a suitcase. But that's really faulty logic.
Because there is no room.
Because where the hell am I going to put stuff?
Yeah, I understand that.
But I want to take it because I love hand-me-downs, and then everything's got sentimental attachment,
right.
and so I end up with the odd bag of clothes that lives in a friend's house for the year, and then I swing back around the next year.
So you got a fresh set of wardrobe every time you come through.
Yeah. I've got about 3 towns where there's extra level of friendship happening.
Yeah.
And then I have these like momentous reunions with these bags that I have no recollection whatsoever of what I've left.
Nice.
And half of it's usually garbage because I was too rushed and frantic to deal with it properly, so it goes out to like Salvation Army or whatever. And then the other half is like this
treasure.
I forgot about this sweater, and Jolanda gave me this last year, and even like these, she's got a lot of fine scented lotions and potions as well. And one time I opened this great big bag and found a purse and thought, what the hell, this purse is garbage, it's broken, why did I keep it? Checked all the pockets before I was going to throw it out, and in the last pocket everything was empty, but there was a pouch of drum tobacco, exactly enough for 1 cigarette, exactly 1 rolling paper, and I had quit smoking for just over a year. Exactly. And it was this massive reckoning of it seems like it's exactly the right amount for me to have to do this.
This is where you go, is Providence really in charge of this, or is it actually my choice?
Guess what I did, Rob?
You demanded your choice. You didn't smoke the cigarette.
Of course I smoked.
No!
It was exactly enough for 1. Like
You're not addicted again, though, eh?
Let's not talk about that.
No, no.
But I wrote the song while I was smoking. In an old pocket I found a smoke a year after I quit. And I stopped and wondered if I should, and then I thought, fuck it. And I poured myself a glass of wine and with ceremony lit it. Thought about the time I've lost having that same old fit. The one that tells me I'm not good enough, though I know that I'm strong. And I've fought off every demon, tried to prove me that I'm wrong. And I've got a friend in every town, and still I don't belong. My best friend has always been a song. But hallelujah for the spirit that remains, and hallelujah for the sounds of sweet refrains. I can pack my life into a box and hop that same old train. Just as long as I keep moving, nothing's lost, and nothing's gained. Well, everybody's growing up, time is showing on their face. And despite the best of all advice, it still feels like a race. And And I'm fine as long as I am being held in an embrace. But you cannot spend forever in one place. And oh, time, you're sneaky and you're cold. And I don't know who scares me more, the young ones or the old. It feels just like a card game, you can fake or you can fold. But there aren't so many winners, so I'm told. Hallelujah for the spirit that remains, and hallelujah for the sounds of sweet refrains. I can pack my life into a box and hop that same old train. Just as long as I keep moving, nothing's lost and nothing's gained. Well, that cigarette burned quickly, and it left me wanting more. But it wasn't more to smoke, I don't know what I smoked it for. 'Cause it ended and I felt just as I'd felt before. The ceiling still above me and below me still the floor. I don't know what I've been expecting, some magical new thing. 'Cause if I could turn around and suddenly I'd have real wings. I don't know what to call this dream that stubbornly still clings. But every day the same old cycle brings. But hallelujah for the spirit that remains, and hallelujah for the sounds of sweet refrains. I can pack my life into a box and hop that same old train. Just as long as I keep moving, nothing's lost, nothing's gained. Hallelujah, hallelujah. I'll pack my life into a box and hop that same old train. Just as long as I keep moving, nothing's lost and nothing's gained. Nothing's gained. Nothing's gained. Nothing's gained.
Beautiful, eh? And I'm enjoying the birds singing in the
Yeah, it's a
background
nice
and
little
everything, eh?
background.
Orit Shimoni here in the Moose, and come on, I'm examining this.
Exam away.
The lyrics of the words
Yes.
of that song. As long as you're moving, nothing is lost. I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
A lot of people find it difficult to adapt to the fact that somebody hasn't got a route, a place to live.
Freaks people, right?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
But it's also alluring and charming.
Yeah.
The idea of it.
Yeah, people think it's a lot freer than it is.
You have to be really organised, haven't
In
you?
a way, I mean, I'm definitely not an organized person by nature, but like...
Well, you have to be, or you're not going to eat, or you're not going to get on a train, and
Yeah.
you're going to miss a plane, or you're going to book the wrong flight. Or,
Yeah, there's a lot of administration in
Yeah.
it, for sure.
Yeah.
Logistical things to do.
yeah, or you're not going to connect with the next promoter and all the other stuff
Yeah.
that you need to do to keep
Yeah.
it going.
Yeah.
And you have to be thinking about not losing stuff all the time.
And
so.
I do sometimes lose stuff, but it feels like I'm floundering all the time, and I feel really frazzled, and it seems like there's chaos. But then from the outside, people say things like, "Well, you've got excellent work ethic." What?
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm doing. It's kind of been fool's luck for a decade. It feels like
Fool's
It's
luck.
just-
Yeah. Right. Okay. I'll take that. I'm with you with that. But the other one, nothing gained.
Yeah, I have actually stopped that and said to audiences that I don't really, that the sentiment when I was writing the song was definitely like, you can't I can't personally like amass things. I've got to like, you win some.
Nothing
you lose some,
gained
you take
physically.
some physically.
Yeah.
On some levels of my life, not just physically.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like you take something, you have to leave something behind on every level of living. But then when I sing that, when I wrote it, I felt it and thought, yeah, that's my existential truth. But when I first performed it to audiences, there were beautiful people there that were giving me the sort of joy of my life. I heard it in another way.
You just answered the last question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course there's so much gained. I wouldn't be living this way if there wasn't something gained all the time through the exchange of sharing the songs. So, I mean, if it's just me and my writing head and my little solitary existence, yeah. But as soon as
it becomes public domain, it's a thing of community, isn't it?
I hope other people are gaining, but I gain so much from their responses and people come and say to me after shows or just the smiles on people's faces and nodding heads. So I usually apologize for the lyric.
Isn't the Netherlands the most wonderful place for that? Isn't it? As far as it responds to any given song and concert performance. And many and listening audiences, time and time again.
To be honest, I mean, I started touring really hardcore here because it was so much easier to do because of the small distances.
Yeah.
I don't actually find, and I always feel guilty about saying that, but I don't find that big of a variety in audienceship from place to place. If you're in the right moment, then there's a connection.
Yeah.
What's nice here is that there's many places to be and do this as a solo artist, which is harder to find in lots of other places. So in that sense, it's a place that really welcomes the idea of the troubadour or the singer-songwriter. But audience connection, I'm lucky to report that it works in different places.
You had a spell in Berlin as well, didn't you?
I lived in Berlin for a year, and then ever since then I've been coming back for at least a couple of weeks a year.
Orit Shimoni in the Moose and with a new album.
Yeah.
Part recorded in Holland?
All recorded
in
yeah.
Holland.
Some were older songs of mine and some were written right there in the studio. Smarter Than Me was written in the studio, very much directly inspired by the wife of the guy recording the album, Marit.
What's the name of the album?
Lost and Found on the Road to Nowhere.
Yeah.
And I don't know when that popped into my head because usually...
Probably after you had your first fag after a whole year.
Maybe. I think almost every single one of my albums, except for one other one, the name of the album is always one of the song titles. And in this case, it just, these songs really were of the road. Like even the older ones were somehow...
and by its very nature, they were written on the road
written
as well.
on the road, recorded on the road. There is nothing else but the road for me. But I'm trying to write a book, slowly.
Yeah.
About what it's like to live full-time on the road, what it's like to be a guest.
Put me down for a copy of that, please.
Absolutely. And what keeps coming to me, I think, I mean, it's a presumption, but that, I mean, the truths of my life are very particular to living out of a suitcase, and it's not a very common way of living. But there always seems to be a metaphor to just being a human being and alive on the road of life. And
we're going to talk into the night about that. It really, but it does feel like that, eh? And then once you get attuned to that, it's one moment after. I know I'm living like I'm in hobo heaven as far as you're concerned in a van.
Yeah, you've got an actual house.
Yeah,
it's on wheels, but
I just transport it with me. But there's a kind of feeling of oneness with your situation and everything.
Everything's a metaphor. No matter what anecdote I try to write about, there's always a twist at the end of writing that says, and therefore, dear readers who aren't living on the road, this is completely connectable to however you're living your life, because it's just the way living is.
Yeah,
you know?
And I think that's fundamentally a very human thing. I mean, we've only had 3,500 years out of a possible 150,000 years of humanity that we have been we have chosen to live as in a stable situation in the same place with the possibility of moving, but and sustaining
nomadic.
yourself
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So we've been non-nomadic for only a portion of what
That's true.
humanity
It feels
is.
totally natural to me to live
Does
this way,
me
which
too.
is nuts. I mean, most people can't wrap their heads around it, but I mean, it never didn't feel natural.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
So how long have you been that way?
It's almost a decade.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it might. Yeah, almost a decade.
And did you always want to get,
I had
when you
no
were a kid,
idea.
did you always want to get away on holiday?
I loved road trips.
Yeah.
I always loved road trips, and I even loved sitting on the bus and staring out the window. I loved seeing other people's homes. I used to babysit when I was in high school, and I used to just completely be amazed by the inside of other people's houses. So that I really enjoy as a guest, as
Yeah.
I couch surf in people's homes.
Yeah.
So there's some continuity, but I never, ever dreamed this would be my life. I really had no idea that this would happen. It just happened,
Yeah.
you know, and then it just kept happening, and
Yeah.
it kind of self-perpetuates.
Yeah, it just grew out of the non-ability of the music industry to allow people to do it any other way, I suppose.
True, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, like, I never really went into it having a clue what the music industry was all about, and I have some regret over that I didn't do my research and learn what, you know, I didn't know what any of the terms meant. I didn't know what a publicist was or a producer.
You just went and did it.
I just did it.
Yeah.
And things came my way as a result, and I just kind of...
We had the same conversation in here
Yeah.
with the last two artists,
Yeah.
basically.
I think a lot of the ones that end up touring in Europe are that way because
Yeah.
Europe lends itself more to people like that than
Yeah.
North America does.
Yeah.
And North America is
And, you know, North America will consume you anyway because it's so big.
It's massive, yeah. And I mean, now that there's house concerts and things like that, there's a way.
Yeah.
But if you're not out there putting it out there,
Then you can't.
you can't, nothing. And if you're waiting for that, I think that was the point, is I started right at the cusp of the industry itself kind of falling apart, and
Yeah.
record stores falling apart, and having a label didn't really mean, and I was in tune enough to know that it
Yeah.
was just like, it was an obsolete model anyway. Just write the fucking songs, you know.
Let's see who wants to hear them. Right.
That's quite an intro. This song was written also in Holland, in a town called Eindhoven, and
Yeah,
there
I know Eindhoven.
Towns Van Zandt used to spend some time.
I didn't know that.
Well, the next time you're back,
Yeah?
there is a Towns Van Zandt room
Where?
in Eindhoven. At the street name I can find out for you if you
I will
want.
find it.
But the friends of his that he used to spend time with here have turned it into a kind of bed and loosely termed bed and breakfast
Wow.
for touring musicians. So there was the one night
I'm-
in 8
I'm-
year that I paid for a room because it was
Because
the
it's Towns
Van Zandt
Oh,
room.
well.
And everyone who does it tries to write a song in that room, and I found out later that almost everybody writes a train song in there, which is kind of interesting. I did not write a train song. I wrote a song for Towns Van Zandt and me, and at that point in my existence, I think I was starting to get terrified that this was killing me, and it will, but there's a fear element to that too, and so yeah.
Okay.
Song for Towns. Well, I lay me down in a room where a man like me was already dying, and I thought, why do we choose the demise of ourselves as rebellion? If the calling is God, I say the muse is the devil. Something's wrong with this path, something's not on the level. It'll nip at your heels and then give without warning. Close your eyes and pray. You'll be here in the morning. Well, it's a sordid affair, hardly right, hardly fair when it gets you. But the sounds just come out, and it's acquaintances, strangers and friends. And if you just push on through, there'll be more when you get round the bend. If the calling is God, I say the muse is the devil. Something's wrong with his path, something's not on the level. Hearts can twist from their core and turn without warning. Close your eyes and pray. There'll be love in the morning. Well, if it makes you feel free, how can you disagree with the theory that to live is to fly? You just can't deny that it's true. If the calling is God, I say the muse is the devil. Something's wrong with his path, something's not on the level. If you rise to the sky, your wings will melt without warning. Close your eyes and pray. They'll be there in the morning. And if it all goes wrong, and if I have no place to fall, at the end of the day, it's still you that I wish I could call. If the calling is gone, and the muse is the devil, well, if they both point at you, I can only just revel at the beauty I've seen, and the songs for the showing that will be here when I'm not in the morning.
Great song. I can hear Town's voice.
His
in there.
voice is in there.
There's a few. I
He-
used to play that, and something would like get knocked over every time. There was like the ghost of Canada, and Dad would come.
I'm
and say
watching
hello.
the cactus doesn't fall over actually right now. So. He used to hang out with friends of mine in Scotland as well.
Yeah.
Well, he was the same as yourself, consummate rover.
He was.
Thank you, that was lovely.
You're very welcome.
And
Thank
we've
you.
got a whole show to look forward to because I've only seen you in 20-minute snippets.
In a dry little hotel room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So I'm looking forward to that.
Me too. It's really it's
and a
one
nice
of my
couple of days.
favorite things in my life is when people from one place show up in another.
Yeah.
So it's great. It's really bizarre to see you here, but wonderful. Thanks
Yeah,
for having
well,
me.
I'm looking forward to a couple of days. And come to Scotland, there's a spare room.
Great.
You can have your own bed
Lucky it's like a five-star
and it can be
hotel.
your own bed for as long as you want. Can you imagine that?
I look forward to taking you up on that. I'm long overdue for Scotland.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and we talked about that when we saw you,
Yeah.
so let's talk more about that. Thank you very much. You're on that Facebook thing, everybody knows how to find you. It's Orit Shimoni.
Yeah, it's the spelling, but we'll tag it all up.
Yeah, and we'll tag all this all up and tell people how to find you and everything. Enjoy the rest of the Netherlands. Where are you off to next, just quickly?
I'll be all over the Netherlands until the Netherlands. That's a way better
The
word
Never
for it.
Netherlands.
The Netherlands. Until June 3rd, and then I'm in Belgium for a week and back in Berlin for one last hurrah, and then off back to Canada mid-June.
June in Canada.
Yeah.
Maybe try and get you. Well, but we'll be out there in October. Don't know if you're still about.
I'll be in Canada for a good chunk.
This is a really beautiful place. I don't know how many of you live in this place or come from far away, but I come from really far away. One of the places is Canada, and the other place is a little city you might have heard of called Jerusalem. And over the years I've wanted to write songs about it because it's a beautiful place, but also a painful place. But it's hard to come and write a song and say, this is about Jerusalem, because everybody has an opinion about it. Everybody has a feeling about it. And I just wanted to talk about my little home, because I was there as a child. It was before I thought about politics and religion and war and all the extra things. It was just my beautiful little place. And so I wrote a song about this place, but I put it in a code. So instead of calling it Jerusalem, the song is about a girl named Jane. Where